BeHeard.live.
BeHeard.live. BeHeard.live. BeHeard.live.
Now I've heard the story, and we know how your interpretation of what happened, and now we're looking at. So, what did they accuse you of? Now all of a sudden you're getting a notice, and what are they accusing you of?
Felony 3 times, burglary, mistrust of a minor. I guess I made her mistrust me. The felonies are 10 years per gun. And he's claiming he had 3. But when I did a background check, there were 3 guns, excuse me, he stole and was charged for that, and they were loaded.
Now, have you done a full background check on him?
On Intellus.
Intellus? Okay.
And my lawyer said that's not good. He's going to do a new one. But
Yes.
Intellus is what I did. It showed that he had moved 27 times in a short period. Coots County is where he was charged with burglary and theft of loaded firearms.
And then, so these are the counts, and so this is the counts and the stuff that she's talking about right here. The counts that she was charged with. So now,
this is to go to court on Monday.
Okay, and then you've got another one. Okay, so
And
the
this
actual.
is to act for a continuance. This will be our 8th continuance. My last lawyer died, and so I had to find a new one, and that's when I found this one. And so he put this together that we're going to ask for a continuance on Monday, December 11th, until January something that's on here. And then trial for me will be on February 27th. And so that's when I have time to try to...
Yeah, to tell the story and to get it out there, and let's do some investigation and find out.
So my lawyer, he talked to Jerry, but he still he hands down thinks I'm guilty, and I am guilty of throwing away garbage. Honest to God, anything that was any good, I put on the counter. I didn't see a school computer, any computer. Josh said that he had put up high a computer, and I kept entering the apartment. That is not true. I only went in on my wash days unless she got really sick at one point and vomited on my bed. I needed to wash that day. And to get everything done, I had to go down as soon as he left. So as soon as he left, I went downstairs to start washing.
So the washer and dryer are downstairs in that apartment.
Yes.
And you have permission and an agreement with him to go and use that washer and dryer at your need.
Well, I had told him that I needed to use it for the dogs got sick.
Yeah.
I was trying to get my own up here. I have my own now. But
you did have a scheduled time to go and
Yes,
use that thing.
yes.
So it was common that you entered
Yes.
the apartment. It's not like a normal apartment where you would never expect the landlord or anybody to come in without notification.
Mm-hmm.
You had a standing notification that you would be coming into the apartment on a regular basis to use the washer and dryer.
yes.
Okay.
And sometimes I would take food down, and when they were done, they'd leave the dish on the counter and I'd bring it up.
So you had a very lax understanding of who could go and where what, because you guys worked with each other. You fed them. They came up here and ate. You went down there and brought them food. You provided them with gifts and things like that in their times of need. And he borrowed things from you on a regular basis, and you had common use of the apartment because of the washer and dryer downstairs. Okay, and it's also my understanding that in your mind, he had moved out and his end of contract was December 31st. Mm-hmm. And that as of December or January 1st till January 9th, that you had stayed out of the establishment to give the the appropriate amount of time. And my understanding in Washington State is RCW, and I'll get the exact numerical description of this article, but it's my understanding in Washington State, and I could be wrong, I believe it's either $250 or $750 worth of valued items. So would you value the items that you took to the dump at $250 to $750?
No.
Okay, so you had a reasonable understanding that this was less than the allotted amount, which fits in the time according to RCW. You have a 7-day window if the items are less than $250 to put a notification on the window and wait for a reply. Since you didn't have a phone number, an email address, or any other way to contact this person, the only method you had was the visual notification on the window.
Yes.
And that visual notification was viewable by others. You took a picture of it. Mm-hmm. Police officer saw it when he came. Mm-hmm. And you had cleaned out the thing after the 7 days. So we were 9 days into the month when you did the cleaning. 7 days had passed. And so according to this RCW, now if it's over $750 that he says that he lost, then it becomes a 45-day period of time that they have to wait before you can remove his stuff. So regardless of that happened, when did you rent the apartment out again?
Oh, 2 or 3 months. I'll have to ask. It was empty 3 months, I think.
2 or 3 months. Okay. So it wasn't like you rented the apartment out and kicked him out and all that stuff. You threw away what you thought was garbage, kept what you didn't think was garbage. And then who's the neighbor that helped?
Jerry Delich.
How do you spell that?
Delich.
Okay. And then Jerry helped you with this.
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry,
and then, so I'll ask Jerry what he saw and what he thought and what his evaluation of the stuff was. I believe that you're a reasonable person with a reasonable evaluation, and that you could come close to the evaluation of garbage or not. But that said, my curiosity with this whole thing is because that is a misdemeanor theft. I mean, in Seattle, Washington, I can walk into a place and steal $750 worth of stuff from you right now, and you can't do a damn thing to stop me. And I can show up every day and steal $750, and they won't do a damn thing to stop me. So that's what's going on in Washington State right now. So all of a sudden, they're coming after you. So I have to ask myself, well, why? So then it brings me to the guns. So this that you're talking about sounds like a misdemeanor charge or a slap in the hand, a small penalty, and you learn your lesson. Next time you have a renter, you don't own any other real estate, apartment complexes.
No.
You're not a mogul, a real estate mogul. So this is the only rental opportunity that you have. So it's not like you do this as a professional for a living. This is a courtesy that you provide to the public or people that need shelter. Mm-hmm. So interestingly enough, that you would think that this would be not even on their radar, but it is on their radar because of the gun theft. So basically, the Island County prosecutor is accusing you, and I want to read through the stuff. I saw a little bit of it, but I want to read through the complaint they have against you. But it sounded like to me that they painted you as a vindictive person with an agenda against this man to destroy his life, to destroy his reputation, steal his things, and that this guy has something that somebody with the view of the Puget Sound that lives on the water could possibly want. This person that has nothing, all of a sudden he's got valuable items that you covet to the point of stealing them. But that is it. Maybe so. So I don't know. We're gonna find out. I'm skeptical, but I want to know about your gun smuggling days. Tell me, how many guns have you owned?
0.
How much training with guns have you had?
0.
You fired any?
Once.
On
my shoulder.
Yeah, so how many gun clubs are you part of?
0.
When's the last time you went to the pawn shop and tried to pawn an item?
Never.
So explain to me your affiliation with the Camino Island Gun Smuggling Network.
I'm not associated. The problem is...
So you don't know guns. You've never owned a gun, and you don't know any gun smuggling people on the island. You didn't go to a pawn shop in the local area to pawn the guns. There's no police officers that have gone out and found these guns. And have you seen pictures of these guns?
No.
Have you seen serial numbers of these guns?
No.
And when you heard the story that was given to the police, what was told about these guns? How were they kept and stowed?
They didn't.
Oh, so how did they say that he said he had the guns, and where did he keep them?
He didn't. They haven't asked him that. In fact, my renter that's down there now, I asked her, I said, would you please get a ladder and look behind the hot water tank? Because that's the only place I can think of a big gun to be. He had a rifle, I guess. Well, they're pretty big. That's the one I shot with my brother and knocked me back. And if he had a rifle like he's saying, it would have had to, it wasn't under the bed when I did the broom.
So he had 3 guns? Mm-hmm. So, and did he say they were loaded or unloaded? He didn't say. Mm-mm. So he had 3 guns in that apartment, and he left them there when he left.
Well, he says, who knows? He might have taken them. He might have taken the computer too.
And I'm going to look this up because I'm interested in this. But I do have guns, and it is my understanding that my guns must be locked up in a safe at all times. And if they're not in that safe, then they have to have a gun lock, be unloaded, and unless I have them in my possession, they cannot be loaded and unsecure in Washington State. That's my understanding. But this man is saying that he had 3 guns that he left in an apartment unattended, not in a safe. You didn't steal a safe, did you?
No.
Did you break into a safe?
No.
So you didn't break into a safe. You didn't steal a safe.
There wasn't
but
a
yet,
safe.
There was no safe. So he's telling you he had multiple weapons in an apartment with children, and he confessed this to the police. And the police decided you stole these guns, sold these guns, and you are a criminal mastermind that is plotted against this man.
Well, the policeman is Officer Ulrich. And Marjorie next door is 87 now. And when I talked to her about this craziness, she said there isn't one person on this street that hasn't had a problem with Officer Ulrich. And the other officer that went to Jerry's house is Officer Fegg, Fague or something like that, Officer Fegg. And so those are the 2 police involved. They went to the dump and they got pictures of us. In fact, Officer Ulrich called me the next morning. This is what he said. Who's the old guy in your car? And I thought, what? Who's the old white-haired guy in your car? And I said, that was Jerry, a neighbor. What's his last name and phone number? So then they sent Officer Fegg to interview him, and they went to the dump, but the dump was full of rabbit feces, so they wouldn't get in and look.
So the officers, this is the day of the incident. So the officers went to the dump, pulled the footage, and saw you driving a car.
Or Jerry.
You were Jerry driving a car. So where did the truck come from? Where does the truck have to do?
I have no idea.
So what are they saying that the truck has to do? Why is the truck?
Officer Ulrich said he was walking by and he saw the trailer hitched to a truck and it had a rug in it. Well, the renter had no rugs. So I don't know what he's talking about. And every load that we took to the dump wasn't great big and high, but I did wrap a blue tarp around it.
So Officer Ulrich said that he walked by on the day of this event.
Yes.
And he saw you loading a truck loading a carpet into a trailer that was attached to a truck.
Yes.
Did you use a trailer and truck that day?
No.
Do you know anybody with a trailer and truck?
I know a lot of people with trailer and trucks.
Oh, yeah, but that means that you borrowed that day.
No.
So there's nobody that you borrowed the trailer and truck from. So So then Officer Ulrich is saying that he saw you driving a trailer and truck on that day, and yet they went to the dump and they only saw you in a car.
In my Forester.
In your car. Or in your Forester. Okay.
So
there's no evidence of you being in the truck.
No.
And there can't be because you weren't in a truck.
I wasn't.
So if they pull out a picture of you in the truck, this would be miraculous conception of a picture.
Yes,
okay. Because that's it. So, and that's the thing. If you're lying, they're going to nail you on it. If you're not, they're not going to nail you on it.
No.
So, is Officer Ulrich said what he said is true, and he
On
saw you
camera.
loading the stuff and going to the dump, then it's going to be on the camera. If he can't produce this, then he was incorrect in his statement.
He was incorrect.
And we have one incorrect statement. And so, okay. And then what else did Officer Ulrich say?
Oh, he said I took everything to the dump, but he was just down there and saw all the stuff on the counter, the whiteboard that he went carrying out. There was a lot of stuff that of value that I did not take to the dump. So he was wrong in saying that to me. And I could have swore I said I didn't take the computer to the dump, but it wasn't on the video. But when he said, you took her computer, I said, no, I didn't. He said, well, you said you took everything. Well, he's feeding me because he was down there. He walked around the apartment. He had a video and he saw stuff still.
Did he ever inform you were on an investigation for a crime?
No.
Did he ever read you a arrest?
No.
Did he ever say anything to make you believe that you were being interrogated or investigated?
He
for a
said,
crime?
lady, you're in deep trouble.
But then he never told you why?
No.
He never made any kind of announcements. He just said, lady, you're in deep trouble.
Yes.
And this is the interpretation of an officer that was there for how many minutes? A few minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. In your history with Officer Ulrich, have you ever met him in the past or dealt with
No,
him
I
in the
just,
past?
no.
So you don't really know him
No,
or
I
anything
don't
like
know
that.
him.
So okay. And his family lives in the
Yeah,
area?
his in-laws live across the street, kitty corner.
So is he somebody that walks around this neighborhood all the time?
He said he lives close by. I don't know where he lives.
But he said he was walking by and
Yeah.
saw you do this.
And saw the truck
how
and
far
trailer.
do his parents live from here?
That one right over
Right
there.
over there.
Yeah.
So he was walking by and he was on a walk in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll ask around and see if some neighbors have seen this man walking around. Because if it's a normal thing that he walks around, well, then it's plausible that he could have seen you getting out of your truck. But I visit my parents all the time and never go for walks in their neighborhood. So I find it odd that you would go to your parents' house to go for a walk, but not too odd. I mean, you live by the beach. Maybe you walk down the beach or something. I mean, who knows? There could be a million reasons. I'm just speculating that it sounds odd. The other thing that I heard you say was something about him fundraising for this guy.
Yes. He went down to the end of the driveway and the Joshua, the plaintiff, had told him he had taken the kids to Disneyland. And now everything was gone. But he hadn't been here. All their Christmas presents were gone. Everything was gone. But they hadn't been here since before Christmas.
So he told you he was moving to an apartment, but then he told the officer that he went on vacation, and while he was gone, you robbed him.
Yes.
Okay. So
And so
he's got airline tickets. He's got hotel reservations. He's got car rental. He's got gate passes. He's got ride passes. Okay.
Well, I asked my lawyer.
He's got credit card charges.
Yeah.
That would be credit card. He's probably got a cash withdrawal from the bank, so he could have some cash while he ran around. So, people, what else do you think he's got?
Well, Jerry's truck was never here. And that's the only truck that is black. It's navy blue, I think. And it was never in my driveway.
Does Jerry have a trailer?
No, I have the trailer.
Okay.
He needed a trailer one time and he rented one.
Okay. So it's possible that your trailer was parked in the driveway and that at some point Jerry backed his truck in
No.
and you guys did something.
No, no. The day he's saying is the day we went to the dump, the 8th.
Yeah, and you weren't in his truck.
And I was never in his truck.
Okay. So you say you were never in his truck. We have no video evidence of his truck, but this officer is saying he saw a truck and in a trailer. So I'm not one that automatically specs. Well, first of all, how would you tell it was hooked unless he walked up the driveway? There's physically no way to tell that it's hooked. So, but I am one to give the benefit of the doubt. So I could speculate that maybe the officer got the date wrong, and maybe the officer, walked down the road, and maybe the officer looked up the driveway and saw Jerry's truck parked backwards in the driveway and assumed it was connected to a trailer, and assumed that there was a carpet inside, and made some assumptions based on whatever thought his memory brought to him at the time. This is a plausible explanation, because you are denying the fact that you had your truck here. We're going to find out if Jerry says the same thing. Let's find out. He'll deny that he had his truck here. And we're going to go for that, and we'll go down that path and see what we can come up with.